When it comes to the word perfect, what do you think? Perhaps many people will think of an event, a person, or a beautiful dream, completely without blemish, without mistakes, with no bad points in general. Perfect is everything is great. And what we have been thinking for so long, is it true? Is it really as perfect as we think it is? Let's also listen to this story. One day, a young man was standing in the middle of the town proclaiming that he had the most beautiful heart in the entire valley, because there was not a mark or a flaw in it. A crowd gathered, and they all agreed it truly was the most beautiful heart they had ever seen. Suddenly, an old man appeared in front of the crowd and said, "Your heart is not nearly as beautiful as mine." The young man and the crowd looked at the old man's heart. It was thumping, but full of scars. It had places where pieces had been removed, and other pieces put in. But they didn't fit quite right, and there were several jagged edges. In fact, in some places, there were deep gouges where entire pieces were missing. The young laughed. "You must joke," he said. "Compare your heart with mine. Mine is perfect, and yours is a mess of scars and tears." "Yes," said the old man, "yours is perfect looking, but I would never trade with you. Every scar represents a person to whom I have given my love, not only girls but also parents, siblings, friends. I tear out a piece of my heart and give it to them, and often they give me a piece of their heart. That fits into the empty place in my heart. But, because the pieces aren't exact, I have some rough edges, which I cherish, because they remind me of the love we shared. Sometimes I have given pieces of my heart away, and the other person hasn't returned a piece of his heart to me. These are the empty gouges. Love sometimes doesn't need reciprocity. Although these gouges are painful, I hope someday they may return and fill the space I have waiting for. So now, do you see what true beauty is?" The young man stood silently, with tears running down his cheeks. He walked up to the old man, reached into his perfect young and beautiful heart, and ripped a piece out. He offered it to the old man with trembling hands. The old man took his offering, placed it in his heart, and then took a piece from his old scarred heart, and placed it in the wound in the young man's heart. It fit, but not perfectly, as there were some jagged edges. The young man looked at his heart, not perfect anymore, but more beautiful than ever, since love from the old man's heart flowed into his. They embraced and walked away side by side.
Love is the starting place of a kind heart. That heart is a daily song to receive the waves of love that flow and beat into people's lives. Because of that, how beautiful it would be if those waves kept beating silently, matching the beat with benevolent hearts. Human life takes love to nourish the soul. From the soul builds a heart of love, an ideal of life, and gradually that heart suddenly becomes a perfect heart. The most perfect heart is the heart that has many patches, suffers many injuries, sympathizes, shares, and understands. Indeed, the perfect heart is the heart that can harmonize all good human qualities. A perfect heart always reigns in a person rich in kindness and forgiveness. A whole life of dedication, giving everything, always knowing how to reconcile giving and receiving, for the love between people. Albert Schweitzer said, "Waves cannot exist alone. It needs the help of the sea breeze, and the contribution and support of other waves in the sea. Therefore, we cannot go through life alone, but must share it with those around us." Your heart cannot be perfect until you know how to give and receive with people.